Ryan Stone, he's a Canadian. A Canadian. And he was part of the Canadian Navy. No, the Canadian Navy. That's better. And he spells his name with an I and not a Y because his parents hated him. Check out his channel by searching YouTube for Ryan Stone. No, Ryan Stone. That's better.
Howdy, lieutenants and economists. The most volatile, evil, disgusting things on the planet, humans. If you have a video request, you can always go to assholeconsulting.com. Yeah, I am gonna charge you, kids. And that is the importance of not fucking up.
You are such an asshole!
I had somebody say I looked like Lashif from James Bond. Casino Royale, the new one, not the one with David Niven. I'm like, right? And I looked, I'm like, oh yeah, the hair looks like that. I'm trying to grow my hair out down to here. And I put it back one time, just went like that. It was like the late 80s all over again. But now I'm just combing it over, and if I shave this off, you look like Lashif. I'm like, why do I know that? I'm like, oh, yeah, and I looked, I'm like, I kind of do, except I'm not bleeding out of my eye. And I'm not a multimillionaire. Hey, asshole, I would like a video request. Please keep me anonymous. I'm a 23-year-old male who works as a paramedic while going to school for my RN, registered nurse. I have a rental property right now, cash flowing at $300 a month. Good. And about $15,000 in bank with no debt. My plan is to get my nurse practitioner and from there save up and get more rental properties. I'm going to ask this question a generalized way so as to help the most amount of people. How nice my clients are. How would someone in a high-level career go about traveling or having time off, especially if they want to do so months at a time? Is quitting a job and being jobless for months at a time so you can go and travel acceptable? I think this will be a problem for me due to the numerous certifications that expire if you don't renew them and the likelihood of making a prominent employer in your region mad if you have a pattern of quitting and returning. I know that I have sort of screwed myself with buying the rental property. You can always sell it, man. I had a rental property, but I lived in a duplex or triplex. And I'd always have my tenants kind of watch over the property when I went traveling. So that's good. If you have a good brother or sister or family member or a friend that can watch over it, you give them kind of a discount on rent. Hey, stay at my place for a while. I'm going to go travel the world. You can do it. It is an anchor. But you could, if you do it right. Another thing is basic property maintenance. Like, I made sure my property, I always called it my ship. It was ship shape. I always made sure nothing was going wrong, so I immediately fix it. So you can leave it for a month and not worry about it. But I'll tell you this, if you buy multiple properties, which honestly I'd advised against, unless you got some great deal, I would not, because the labor that goes into managing multiple rental properties is a pain in the fucking ass. But just having one won't anchor you that much if you're willing to put in the time. I've thought about hiring a management company to solve this problem. You can do that. I've read Reconnaissance Man. I have an advantage with the real estate market here in Houston due to the reasonable house prices and my knowledge of the area enhanced by the fact that my parents have rental properties out here as well. Well, have your folks fucking take care of it. That's what I would do. Come on, get those boomers to give back a little bit to the community. If they know that, they got people, they got peeps. You got a built-in solution in that thing. Let's talk more about the main problem, though, is how that's going to affect your career. I asked, you have reliable friends, and do you plan on working as an RN in between becoming an NP, or do you plan to go right to school? Many of the NP programs require that you have at least 1 year experience in the related subject before you start them. The only exception, I think, would be an online psych NP program, any of the MT programs. I got a buddy who did that. It can be done online, not requiring physical attendance until the actual clinical hours are required. So that's an option there. All right, look, you don't know where you're doing exactly just yet, so let's not try and plan too far out. You are... That's me. Where are you? You're a paramedic now. You're going to school for becoming an RN. All right, here's what I do. You're 23, you're young now. So do your traveling. Once you become a nurse practitioner, yeah, it's pretty serious, dude. So there's no rush. You don't got kids. You're doing fine financially. I would do the traveling now before you become a nurse practitioner. Now, months at a time, I don't know. Are you planning a global trip? I mean, a month here or there, like, you could fit it in. So, for example, you're a paramedic. You could probably have somebody else take your shifts. You take a month off this winter during winter break from your schooling. Go down to Southeast Asia. Or go to wherever it is. You go to Australia. Go to where it's warm or whatever it is you want to travel. Knock out a month there. All right? Because a lot of people think, oh, it'd be great to travel months at a time. Until you do it. I mean, yeah, it was great. I do it. I love one of the greatest things I ever did was a month-long motorcycle ride all across the country. And it was great, but it's not like, oh, I want to do 5 more months of that. You're kind of like, oh, I want to watch Black Dynamite. I want to watch Venture Brothers and Archer, which are the 3 best cartoons ever made in the history of America and the world. So maybe find out if you're cut for travel. Because, yeah, it sounds great on paper traveling 3 months, but you're like, damn, I am sick and tired of living out of a backpack. So there's that. So, however much time between now and you get your degree as a nurse, avail yourself, summer break, take some time off. Have your mom and your dad or whoever watch over your property. Don't get more properties. Then you're going to have to work a year or so, but you could be a traveling nurse, okay? And this is one good thing about your field that you chose, is there is such a thing as a traveling nurse. And I would totally take advantage of that. Totally do the traveling nurse thing. You're not going to be 100% free, you got to work, but you want to, I don't know, check out Montana, go to White Falls or Whitefish, whatever's near Glacier National, hang out there for a while. Another cool thing about the United States, although you kind of want to be careful, is the Indian reservations not only need nurses, and we'll have programs for that. You're near some of the coolest stuff in the world, or in the United States, in terms of national parks and travel. If you want to do the Western thing, I'm just assuming everybody has the exact same superior taste that I do about traveling. But if you didn't, I don't know, maybe you like Florida, whatever, use the traveling nurse to travel. Make your money, travel, knock out 2 birds with 1 stone. Get your experience, get your travel, get your money. Then you go home, and then let's say you settle back down. And I'm sure you could be a part-time nurse, or you could be an hourly nurse. I'm sure the employment situations and opportunities like that exist if you still want to do some more traveling. As long as you're upfront with your employer, say, look, I travel, right? I work here part-time, you 1099, you come in as a contracting nurse. If they say, no, we got it, well, then you pass up on that job. But by that time, you should have an idea whether you really want to be taking months off at a time and traveling around the world. Then, before you go and embark on your registered nurse career, your nurse practitioning career, then you'll have a better idea, like, okay, now it's about to get serious. Do I have the travel bug? I'll say, oh my God, I want to do nothing but global travel. Well, before you embark on your nurse practitioner career, then maybe you take 6 months off. You certify up, you make sure all your certifications are clear, you save up some money, and you go on that 6-month trip. You scratch that itch. But the time's coming where you're going to come back, and now it's time to grow up, and you go to nurse practitioner school. Now, there's still some flexibility. If you go online, let's say you like the psych approach. Okay, cool. You do that from wherever. A buddy of mine did it. She strongly recommends it, and good for her and good for anybody else who does that. But then when it comes time to having a job, again, it could be online. That could be the best of both worlds. You could be in Russia, over on the internet, helping out people. Then it's like, yeah, they kind of want you there. Except they also have traveling nurse practitioners. So that might be another thing. You might like that. You're never going to be totally anchored unless you want to be. But yeah, the pay's not going to be as great. You're not going to have insurance unless you're working for a company. I don't know. Do they have wage employees or salary employees that travel as traveling nurses? But there is such a thing as a traveling nurse practitioner. And so, you're 23, you haven't traveled yet. Go travel a little bit, see what you feel about travel then. Take a paced approach to getting your your degree and your career. Get your travel out of the way now. Fit that. Don't put your education, your career on hold. You're always pushing that forward. But fit your traveling in there now, because now you can do it. And then when you become a registered nurse, you'll still have some nurse practitioner, you still have some flexibility. But then kiss it all goodbye if you want to have family and children. Because then the fun is over. And then you stay at home. And then we once knew thee. Did you want to? Yeah, you want to be kept anonymous. We once knew you, the anonymous person. Ah, the traveling nurse. I remember him. Then you'll have your stories. And then your wife will get fat. And then you'll be like, I want to travel again. Maybe I could sell the kids, which no one's ever thought about in their life before. All right, that's it. Wisdom, guidance, truth, justice in the American way at assholeconsulting.com. We'll see you guys later. Toodles.